As a family business of 75 years, we certainly didn't get here alone. We grew with the industry and the vessels themselves. This hasn't been without challenge. 14 administrations, the luxury tax, 9/11, and the credit collapse. We stuck together, and with true partners like trade associations and the world's largest boat show in our backyard, the marine industry is a huge success story. And this is our chance to tell it the Ward's way. Welcome everybody to season 5 of the Ward's Way podcast, and we're here live at the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show. I'm here with Nick Siler, CEO of Burger Boat Company, Richard Thompson, who is Chief Marketing and Sales Officer of Burger Boat Company, and Gabe Boughner here at Ward's Marine Family. How are you? Welcome everybody.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So, Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, is this your first Fort Lauderdale?
This is my very first Fort Lauderdale
So
show.
obviously Burger Boat Company has been a very long time exhibitor, but this is you became the CEO in 2025?
In 4 months ago.
4 months ago. So how's that been? How's your first Fort Lauderdale show?
It's been great. It's a large area. There's a lot to
is.
see, and it's a new industry for me as well. So I got a lot to learn, but I'm really enjoying it. It's really been fun.
Well, I'm going to get into where you came from, but separate. How about you, Richard?
This is my first Fort Lauderdale show.
It is for you too.
But I was at the Palm Beach show as my
Okay.
first entree into the boat show living, and I served as a strategic advisor to the company for a year before taking this job 4 months ago.
Okay, so each of you, where did you come from?
Yeah, I came from a number of industries.
Okay.
I've been in manufacturing in many industries for 30 years, ranging from high volume automotive to heavy equipment, some construction and building materials background, but all the time, continuous improvement, operational effectiveness and efficiency, team building,
Yep.
and strategy,
Excellent.
and then building an organization to accomplish
Well, those
that.
are all perfect skill sets to
Yeah.
take what is an amazing boat building company and even make it even better and bigger. So
It's
I'm
quite
excited.
it's quite an honor. I mean, and I'm humbled on a regular basis.
Well,
at
and you
the
guys
legacy.
have a lot of projects coming up, a lot
we do.
going on. So maybe I'll let Richard over here in marketing talk about
Oh, sure.
what's going on new at Burger. So
Well-
also, and where did you come from? I'm
Oh,
sorry. It's a
no,
podcast.
not a
We're jumping all
problem.
around.
That's
It's just a
okay.
conversation.
That's
We're just
right.
having a conversation.
We're just having a conversation.
Well, I come from a long background in consumer products and also B2B products as well. I worked at chemical companies like DuPont,
Okay.
but they've been in these executive roles where I've been focused on general management, strategy, and marketing strategy. So a lot of brand building on a global and national basis.
Okay.
So how's marketing different from where you were to trying to sell yachts?
The science hasn't changed at all. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things I see in this industry over the time that I've been in from an advisor to the company as to the role that's more official. I would say this industry has some work to do when it comes to understanding what the science of marketing can bring to an organization relative to growth.
Okay. Tell me, what is science of marketing?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with understanding the psychological science of why people make choices and why people don't.
Okay.
And that's at a 30,000 foot level. However, it's more than just let's go do that feels good, and sometimes have a 50-50 chance, or maybe even less, of something working out. Informed strategy is always informed by great research, and great research will always lead you to great decisions.
Okay. So wait, I didn't introduce Gabe here. So Gabe's actually fairly new to the yachting industry as well, but he's the Ward's family. But how did you get into the marine industry?
My dad was Navy. I was actually born in Orlando, landed in Virginia, grew up in Virginia, Southeast Virginia, and I worked for Newport News Shipbuilding up there for 10 years. I'm an electrician, engineer, and back in 2021, decided to make a change, brought the family down to Florida, and first time I got introduced to all this. We loved it.
Exactly.
We sold the house down here within a month. So
Yes, and we couldn't be more grateful to have Gabe and all that he's helped bring to the dimension of Ward's Marine Electric family, and also getting a chance to work with you guys. So going back to Burger,
Yeah.
let's talk about Burger. What's going on new at Burger
What's
Boat
going on?
Company?
We've continued to do yachts as
Yes.
we always have.
Yes, and you've been winning some awards for some of your new innovations. You won last year as well, and this year. So
We've got a lot of interesting client projects right now that we're developing. We've in recent years, we've done a lot more commercial boats
Okay.
because there's been there's a supply challenge with the number of boat builders that
Sure.
exist. I think we're hearing about this. I would say our president's making a big deal about making shipbuilding great
Yes.
again.
Yes.
We're closely monitoring what that could mean for our company. We're also seeing a surprising number of military vessel projects coming our way because of our core competencies in boat building, especially in aluminum. And so it's very interesting times at Berger right now.
And I feel like, I know that we've dabbled. We've had several contracts in the military, and I feel like when we go into that type of contract, we bring something out of it that we learn that we apply to the yachting. And then when we go back through a large yachting project, we bring some of that back over too. So I think there's a lot of crossover. Would you guys agree to that?
I would agree, and I think, if you think about Berger being 162 years old, we've had to reinvent ourselves by trying
162.
different things and adapting, and we're really in the process of that right now, especially with the new team that's been brought on board. And so
But that's exciting.
it is very
and
exciting.
to have another evolution after 162 years, I thought we were doing good, Gabe, at 75. Look at us. We're like the babies sitting here.
Yeah. And I'll say, it does seem like you guys are going through that, just coming up with technical ideas. What are some things we can change? How can we, leverage, just from an electrical standpoint, how can we leverage different, power systems? How do we change our batteries? Do we do it with hydraulics? What can we do in order to make the design of the vessel better, more sleek, less waste, things of that nature? And, you guys are going through that right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the expectations of clients are changing, obviously.
Yeah.
And, as we
How?
broaden our scope of what we're working on, we expect there'll be lots more challenges like that.
How are the consumers changing? What are their how are they changing?
Rick, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I think
Give
if
you
I
a
start
chance.
with how are they starting to actually consider the process of even possibly even buying a yacht? If we look at awareness, consideration, there has to be some level of conversion. They make a choice, yes or no, and then if they make a choice to say yes, especially when they're buying one of our boats, we're expecting a certain amount of development of loyalty and advocacy for our brand of what they do with other people within the boating community.
100%.
So if we get to that first part and understand what the awareness and consideration sets are, we're doing a lot of research right now in different segments that we play, the four majors that Nick mentioned a little bit ago. As we start to understand where they get information, why they get it, and then most importantly, what don't they want to hear? What do they want to hear? How are they taking all this information to get down to a decision to say, hey guys, let's talk about this project. We're excited about it. We think you're the ones to do this. Well, there's probably a series of decisions that they've made. At that point, we have to take that and also give them and inform them
Sure.
with other insights about not just why us, but anchor it,
Yep.
pardon the pun, to get us to say, yes, that's the boat company that I want to work with.
And there has been a tremendous, I'd say, resurgence in U.S. shipbuilding and yacht building, especially from our client interactions the last several months that we've been directly involved. So that's interesting to see.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Do you get a sense from any clients, potential clients, that they're interested in 100% or close to 100% American sourced parts, things of that nature?
Yes, they aren't often going to that specific a detail, but they come in with a vision of how can I do as much of this as possible here in my home country.
An American yacht. Well, Gabe's out there promoting the Make American Yachting Great Again.
Yeah.
So we weren't sure of the environment of that or what that hat would look like.
Well-
But we still have some options out there. But you guys are living it and you are doing it. And I guess where I would come from, the negative would be it is still great. We just want more people to know about it. And that's the point of something like this. And I think that a lot of people do know about Berger. Berger is very much known for your pedigree of being a superior yacht that's out there, and I'm sure you're continuing that as you move forward.
We're very proud of that. We're very cautious and protective of it in what we do, how we execute projects. And so us trying to scale that a little bit, we're more concerned about scaling it correctly than just scaling it like crazy.
Okay, so if we're going to get into leadership and scaling and moving, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about hockey.
Okay.
So, So as a hockey family, I had two sons that played hockey and played hockey out of state. And you have been a long time hockey player, coach. Talk to me about that. And has it influenced you? Sorry, it's a podcast, so we get to just talk about what we want, but we have to work in hockey.
It's ice hockey is probably the only thing I enjoy talking about more than boat building at this point. But
we're going to get back to it. But
just personally, youth sports, but especially ice hockey. For me, we moved around a lot when I was a kid, and so every time we moved to someplace new, there was a team to join, and so it was an immediate integration into a community. And also just the camaraderie, the problem solving, the fun, the competitiveness, all those things really, they really motivate me.
There's no out of bounds.
Yeah.
So you're always in the game.
Exactly. And, I volunteer a lot of time. I actually lead our youth hockey organization back where I live. And so this is my first year now not having a child playing youth hockey. So all my kids are gone and doing that thing.
So are you going to start picking up a stick yourself again?
Oh, yeah, I still play.
You do
in the old man's league.
Okay.
I think they call it beer league.
Beer league.
Days.
I was going to say it's not. I don't think they call it the old man's league.
Yeah.
We got to work on the branding.
Yeah,
I know,
but no,
I got to work on it.
Yeah, he needs to help me.
Okay, we'll work on that.
But no, it's the team, it's the competitiveness, it's the camaraderie, it's the competition. It's just fun.
And where I was going to go with that is that, wouldn't you draw a lot of comparisons into the marine industry to hockey? I feel like, for example, all our culture, we've gotten to know your culture, that very much we're very team oriented.
Yes.
And hockey is a sport. You're always having to rely on your other teammates to come in, to come off, to keep the game going. And I feel like there's a lot of boat building analogies. We could talk about that. The team has to work together, work in sync. If you're going to make the deadlines, if you're going to make the timelines and get to what you need to for that customer.
It is boat building is absolutely a team sport. There's so many trades involved. There's so many technical disciplines. There's so many styling and choices. I don't think it's really feasible to have all that capability under one roof for every client choice or every style they could possibly want. As a custom boat builder, we rely heavily on extended team members like yourselves to accomplish projects.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We're happy to be a part of it. Absolutely. Are you guys part of some of these? Talk to me about some of these associations that you're a part of. You guys are still leadership in U.S. Super Yacht as the on the board, right?
Yes. We have Ron Ringo.
Yeah. Good. What other associations are you involved in?
Ron is also a member of
ISS.
Yep.
Okay. I was going to say you went to that event last night.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
How was that?
That was great. It was a great event. Ron was one of the judges for several of the categories there.
Oh, wonderful.
So, of course, we didn't get a good chance to let him let us know exactly who he was going to pick, but now we know. So.
It's out. It's out. You heard it here.
And because of our desire to grow our commercial business and our military business, we've recently joined the Shipbuilders Council of America.
Oh, good.
As well, to get some more insight into how that works. And just like you're doing military stuff, we're being very cautious to make sure we understand. We run a pretty lean organization, lean, mean, fast, adaptable organization.
We do. Yeah.
And some of the administrative overhead associated with running those programs,
it can be tough.
It can be eye-opening.
It very much so. Like I said, you learn a lot from doing a military and try to apply it over. I know for us on some of the timekeeping requirements and the reporting, the original evolution of some of that we had to do for the government, we then applied to on the recreational side and said we should be providing this to our yachting customers as well. So
there's a lot of project management, things like timekeeping and cost allocation. It's just part of running a project-based business. That's no problem. But several other things are significantly greater in terms of overhead. You have to provide a space for 3 to 5 people on your shipyard during construction if they want to come and visit. There's all kinds of things like that we have spaces for owners' representatives and captains and things like that, but not 6 people necessarily. But we'll find a way. But we're also being very careful to make sure some of that overhead doesn't take away some of the things we need to be a successful commercial and yacht.
We struggled with that too, because you want to stay tried and true to your original, to what your skill sets are, and to what services or the product that you're building.
Right.
And you don't want to take away from that.
That's
on the other hand, it is good that there is that it's not supplemental, but it is good to have another market and to have a revenue stream, but you don't want to take away from your core.
Right.
Yes.
I agree. And I don't sense that you guys are doing that at all, but it's good to have a little bit of expansion.
Yeah. Rich has done a good job of sort of laying out, we're in the process of reimagining our business. And that's how we really look at it. And Rich has this saying, which he hates when I say this, but and we really live by this: prescription without diagnosis is called malpractice.
Okay. So let's sit on that.
Yeah.
Prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. Okay.
So just jumping to a conclusion because you heard something interesting, we're not doing that. We're taking the time to understand what each of the segments that we want to do business in really need to be successful, right? There has to be a need and the ability to meet that need. We're trying to make sure we understand what both of those mean before we go too quickly.
So have you imagined anything that you want to share? Is there any new imagination or imagining of?
Well, what I can tell you is this. When Nick and I had put our heads together a lot on this in the prior, and we also have David Villar, our Chief Operating Officer, a member of our team. When we really thought about what does reimagining mean for growth?
Yeah.
Now, reimagining typically in most organizations gets to a point where you create another R word, which is a renaissance. And if you think of the 162 years that we've been in, it's been renaissance after renaissance after renaissance. Wooden fishing boats, schooners. Then we get to a point where there's a move with Reynolds Aluminum to make the first aluminum boat here in the United States of a certain size. Those are just a few milestones. But the milestones that we want to create are not so much just going over, same ground. It's more about kind of recreating it for what the customer wants today.
Okay.
Because the only way that we stayed in business as long as they have, and for you guys too, is we had to stay ahead. So in order for us to honor the past by keeping a couple of toes in it, we have another 8 that have to face forward. And if we're not doing that, then we're really failing what the brand needs. Right? Because if you think, when we get to points where you're celebrating a 75th anniversary, we're coming up on 162 years, it would be really great to say, oh, we've been around this long. Well, customers have an expectation of dealing with a customer or a company like ours. In both cases, it's like, hey, look, I want to work with somebody who's been around that long that time, but I still want to know what you're doing for me right now.
Agree.
And that's the only reason why we're here as long as we are. Because all of us had to look forward to something and anticipate something that our audiences wanted and needed. And that's what we're going to be focused on. And as far as I would say that I think Nick feels, when it comes to American shipbuilding and American suppliers like yourself and partners, to the people around the rest of the world, look up.
Yeah, I agree. Who else do we need to bring to the circle? Is there anybody that you haven't gotten that you would really like to work with? Or I know I'm asking, it's okay.
Great question. When I come back to when you ask questions like that, because of my background, I think about what's going on at the shipyard. And I think one of the challenges that we all face, not just in the shipbuilding, but in every industry I've been in, is the attraction of talent
Yes.
doing what we do.
Yes.
Right. And I think, one of the reasons I joined Burger was because of the beauty of the story and legacy, but also the potential for what it could be. It's every day is completely different in terms of the problems you face because these projects are so large, the client choices are so specific, and the execution is so difficult. But that's what makes it interesting.
It does make it interesting. I know we always say we'd love to have more efficiencies so that everything we do, Gabe's like, everything we do is custom. Everything we do seems to be custom. It's all custom. And it is, but isn't that lovely that there are people that want something so specific, but it does make it difficult to find those efficiencies and be able to hone in and do it. But thank goodness we have customers that they don't really need a boat. They don't have to have a boat, but God bless that they do want one.
Yeah.
And let's build them a great one. Yeah. So who do we need to bring on board? Because I love this. Are we pitching associations to take this up? I know that there's been a movement with U.S. Super Yacht, which was Refit America, but I think that we need to work with the associations on supporting American shipbuilding. Let's make American shipbuilding great again, like the administration is saying.
Yes.
Our governor is saying it too.
Governor's saying it.
I would agree. I think we are, example would be joining the Shipbuilders Council of America. That's on the commercial and military
Okay.
side. I think
And they are doing that. They are working
They are,
to
and
do that.
that's been our interface point. But as we've gone to different events like this and different, even statewide events, I was at an event last week, Wisconsin Defense Industry Council event. So just, I think it's learning and immersing ourselves in what the right approach is. And we've talked about an individual here today that gave us some really interesting insight about how to find out about the projects and how to position yourself. But we're on this learning journey, this reimagining, and we're gathering a lot of information and making sure we can make a good decision for us. So I guess that's a long answer to say I'm not sure exactly on the yacht side yet, but
we should get there.
Yeah,
I think so too.
And I think that I guarantee if we just started pulling people that are walking around us, they would all agree. Because we get into working with the vendors that are all helping build this project that you're building. We talk to a lot of the vendors.
They're
and
like
we hear
all
that
here. Yeah.
they're all here, and we all talk about the same thing, that how do we work together? How do we work better together? What can we do to really spread this message? Because the marine industry is a huge success story.
Yes. Well, you think about any industry, and I think Nick and I have talked about this. Once individuals, let's say, whatever customer group we're talking about, whether it's as small as it would be for custom yachts or maybe larger for commercial, if you have a pattern that they all follow in some way, shape, or form, and where they get or where they decide to get their products, in this case, ships or boats, if you have a pattern long enough to where, let's say, they're moving to outside shipyards outside the United States, Europe, and what have you. We also have to understand that human behavior is a bit of a habit.
Mm-hmm.
So let's not look back at so much who created the habit. Let's find a way of breaking the habit. Sure. And breaking the habit is going to be coming from folks like ourselves standing up and saying, hey, look, some people will say, oh, American shipbuilding is dead. That's just a bunch of hooey. No, American shipbuilding is here. We just have to break habits.
Agreed.
Breaking habits. And how much of this is habit in their choices that they're making? Because they could be making choices that are even better for what they decide to choose, who to build with, and who to partner with in the meantime.
I agree, and I do think that I know that you're selling and doing a wonderful with the branding of Burger Boat Company, but there's a huge story out there that not everybody knows. People don't know the long history, and I will tell you, it happens to us too, and we're not even half your age, but we'll show up to a show and people will say, now where are you from? And we think, well, we've been around forever. Oh, you guys do engraving, or you do engineering? I never knew that about you. And so I think you always have to be out there telling your story. You can't ever assume that people know who you are. And I think the more that you guys are out there and doing what you're doing and getting in front of customers and saying, you should be buying an American boat and you should be buying a burger, and this is why.
Right.
I think it's it's actually an easy sell. I think people will go, oh, okay, you're right.
Yeah, because if we're not talking, other people are filling our space with a story that we haven't told. Sure. It is likely the story that we don't own.
Okay, so Richard, why should I buy a burger boat?
Well, if I had to come back to you in a year, I probably would give you a lot more reasons than I could give you right now. But I can tell you this. The Renaissance, because of the reimagination of what our company is going to do, whether it be commercial, military, custom yacht, or even the repair and refit space, there's a devotion of all our people, from the people who actually are welding our boats all the way up to our management. We have a devotion to providing exactly the experience that they would expect and we would expect for ourselves. That's the basis of where we're starting.
Well, I don't think you should change that answer in a year from now.
Yeah.
I think that should just be your answer.
It should be the expansion of what that is.
Okay, fine.
It'll be an expansion.
It'll be expansion because I think, based on the things that Nick and I have talked about, and that keeps us up at night because we get excited.
No, I love
about
it.
our future.
It's very true.
We have a bunch of folks who have a lot of energy around this, and fortunately, Nick's been kind enough to take the guidance of folks like myself and so many others to say, hey, we're going to be pointing in this direction. And I think this is a direction, again, that is aimed in the right areas of where we have to make the right decisions for the right people at the right time.
Agreed. What about you, Gabe? What do you think is the future of wards that we can be supportive with? It's a tough question.
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think the future for wards is is for us to expand in ways that can fill gaps that you guys may currently have with trying to connect to other vendors. Because it's kind of like you were alluding to, Nick. It seems like there is a lack of manpower in the shipbuilding industry in general, and that applies to each specific discipline internationally. It's not just in the U.S., it's international. And so, I've been bringing in young guys that they grew up on the water. They love marine. Intelligent, smart guys that really they see the potential. Just like you guys see the potential with Burger, they see the potential with the industry. And they want to see the industry grow, and they're willing to put in a lot of hard work to get it there. And I think going after guys like that who have a passion for it and giving them the tools and the breathing room to make things happen and build this out, I think that's where I'm focused with Wards, and I think that's what's gonna secure a partnership further into the future.
It's great. I want to build off of something you said that I'm very proud of. That Burger should be very proud of. Not me, the whole company. We have a wonderful youth apprentice program with local schools, and we've had a very good success rate with finding those people. Not everyone, makes it all the way through, but the ones that come and stay on, they are some of our best performers ever because they found the passion that many of the people who've done it for 30 or 40 years have for boat building. And they've really identified with that, and now they're some of our best employees, whether they're welders, whether they're in a joinery shop, whether they're pulling cables or wires, whatever. We're really lucky to have those people.
And that's great, because I went through an apprenticeship program, started with an electrical, on the deck plate as an electrician. And I've said ever since then, I think the most important thing to become a functioning designer and engineer, procurement, whatever it is, starting with the tools in your hands, because that's when you come across the tough problems. That's when you understand exactly what's being built. And so as you spend time in that, you can end up, understanding the systems at a higher level, and you add more value to the company over time. And I think for the individual too, that growth projection for themselves, I think that it means a lot for them. It's very fulfilling. So,
We've made several changes inside the organization at Burger in the last several months. And many of the things that we've done, we've taken people that are in roles that have deep experience. And we put them into roles, even with no engineering group, but they're a processing group. Their job is to find efficiencies and effectiveness improvements. And some of them, it's brought them to tears to have that opportunity.
Yeah.
And the engagement, the effort, the outcomes that we're getting now because of that. It's extremely exciting. It's very motivating. It makes us want to do the best we can to bring client projects, line up a pool of partners like yourselves, and do great things. And it's a very exciting time. I'm really proud and excited to be there.
Well, we're proud to be working with you.
We are proud.
So
we
are
are
we.
proud to be a part of it, and also preserving the pedigree and promoting the future of Burger Boat Company.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for being here today. Thank you for joining us. We
Thank
hope
you.
you have a tremendous show.
Thank you. You
The
guys too.
biggest boat
Same
show
to
in the world. We will. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.